He was once known for his high-energy performances, rapid-fire delivery, and electrifying presence on stage. A Grammy-nominated rapper who climbed the charts and captured the hearts of fans in the early 2000s. But behind the flashy music videos and platinum albums was a man with a dark, disturbing pattern that would eventually overshadow his talent. Mystikal's rise in hip-hop was fast and loud, but his fall was slow, haunting, and devastatingly real. Michael Lawrence Tyler, better known by his stage name Mystikal, was born in New Orleans, Louisiana in 1970. Growing up in the city's tough streets, he was no stranger to hardship. His father died when he was just 7 years old, leaving his mother to raise him and his siblings alone. Like many kids in New Orleans, he found comfort in music. But his journey to fame wasn't a straight shot. Before rap, he served in the US Army as a combat engineer. It wasn't until after his military stint that he truly began carving a path in hip-hop. Mystikal's raw, aggressive style set him apart from the smooth flows and laid-back delivery of many of his contemporaries. His voice cracked like a whip, and he spit bars with the intensity of someone trying to make every word hit like a punch. He started making waves in the local New Orleans rap scene in the early 90s. His debut album, Mystikal, released in 1994, gained regional attention and landed him on the radar of the growing Southern rap movement. But it wasn't until he signed with Master P's No Limit Records that his career exploded. At No Limit, Mystikal joined forces with a roster that included other rising stars like Silk the Shocker, C-Murder, and Mia X. His 1997 album Unpredictable went platinum. Songs like Ain't No Limit and The Man Right Cheer helped him become one of the standout names from the No Limit era. He followed it up with Ghetto Fabulous in 1998. And again, he delivered strong sales and street credibility. Then came Let's Get Ready in 2000, his breakthrough. The album debuted at number 1, won on the Billboard 200 and included the hit single Shake Your Ass, produced by the Neptunes. It was a club anthem, a radio favourite, and an MTV staple. Mystikal wasn't just a Southern star anymore, he was a national figure. That same year, he earned a Grammy nomination for Best Rap Album, a moment that seemed to signal he'd officially made it. But underneath the success, a darker story was unfolding. In 2002, Mystikal was arrested and charged with sexual battery and extortion. The allegations were shocking. According to prosecutors, Mystikal and 2 of his bodyguards forced his hairstylist to perform sexual acts after accusing her of stealing $80,000 worth of checks. The encounter was videotaped. There was no ambiguity, no fuzzy memories. There was a recording of what happened. The evidence was damning. In 2003, Mystikal pleaded guilty to sexual battery and extortion. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison. The man who had been on top of the world just a few years prior was now behind bars. Fans were stunned. The music industry reeled. And as Mystikal began serving his time, it was clear that his once promising career had derailed in the most horrifying way. After serving his sentence, Mystikal was released in 2010. Some thought he would quietly disappear from the public eye, but instead he tried to stage a comeback. He signed with Cash Money Records, one of the biggest labels in the business, and began recording new music. It seemed that maybe, just maybe, the industry was ready to forgive and move on. His 2011 single Original with Birdman and Lil Wayne marked his attempt to recapture the spotlight. But trouble wasn't done with Mystikal. Just 2 years later, in 2012, he was arrested again, this time for violating probation after a domestic abuse incident. He served an additional 90 days in jail. The pattern was beginning to emerge more clearly now. Every step forward seemed to be followed by 2 steps back. And while some fans still clung to the image of the charismatic rapper they once loved, others were starting to see a deeply troubling history unfold. Then, in 2017, another bombshell hit. Mystikal was indicted on charges of first-degree rape and second-degree kidnapping in Louisiana. A woman accused him of sexually assaulting her at a casino in Shreveport after a performance. Once again, he denied the charges, but the shadows of his past loomed large. After spending 18 months in jail, he was released on a $3 million bond in 2019, funded in part by a record deal, advance and financial help from supporters. Despite the serious charges hanging over him, Mystikal continued to perform. He appeared at festivals and shows, trying to keep his career alive while waiting for his legal case to be resolved. The trial dragged on for years. But just as things seemed to calm down, yet another charge arrived, and this one was the most serious yet. In July 2022, Mystikal was arrested again, this time on charges of first-degree rape, domestic abuse battery, false imprisonment, and drug possession. The details were horrifying. According to the arrest affidavit, a woman told authorities that Mystikal had held her against her will, raped her, and physically assaulted her in his home. He was denied bond and remained in jail awaiting trial. The new charges sent shockwaves through the industry and left even the most loyal fans struggling to defend him. This was no longer about redemption or a rough patch or even a misunderstood past. This was a consistent, deeply troubling pattern of violence and abuse. Mystikal's legal team initially claimed the encounter was consensual, but prosecutors painted a different picture. A violent predator who had repeatedly harmed women and used his fame as a shield. The trial was brutal. Testimony from the victim, forensic evidence, and witness accounts presented a chilling narrative. In April 2023, a Louisiana grand jury indicted him on all charges. It marked the lowest point in a fall that had been decades in the making. Now, Mystikal sits in prison, awaiting the final resolution of his case. He faces the possibility of spending the rest of his life behind bars. His music, once a symbol of Southern pride and lyrical skill, is now remembered with asterisks and disclaimers. The story of Mystikal is no longer about the beats, the bars, or the Billboard charts. It's about something much darker: the abuse of power, the cycle of violence, and the failure of some in the industry to hold stars accountable until it's far too late. It's impossible to separate the art from the artist when the crimes are this severe. And that's what makes this story so difficult to tell. Mystikal wasn't a one-hit wonder. He was a defining voice in early 2000s rap. His sound helped shape a generation of hip-hop. But behind that voice was a man accused of repeated brutal acts of violence against women. Acts that weren't just rumors or tabloid fodder, but verified crimes with real victims. In the end, the fall of Mystikal isn't just a personal tragedy. It's a reflection of a music industry that for too long turned a blind eye to warning signs. For every chart-topping single, there was a court case. For every comeback attempt, there was another woman hurt. And while the music might still play on streaming platforms, the man behind the microphone is no longer celebrated. The name Mystikal once stood for energy, power, and Southern pride. Now it stands for a cautionary tale of wasted talent, unaddressed violence, and the high price of silence. His legacy is forever tainted, not by a bad album or a failed tour, but by the real and lasting damage he caused in the lives of others. If you found this story thought-provoking, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the complicated legacies of celebrities whose fame hides a darker truth. Let us know what you think. Can redemption ever truly exist for someone with such a history? Or are some falls just too far to come back from?